everybody. Welcome back to the Skeleton Crew. I'm your host, Jen Callahan, today, and I have a great guest with me. His name is Nate Smith. He is the CEO and the founder, or co-founder, I might say, of a company called Imaging Diversified. And then he's also in the process of, we're kind of just started up another company called Scepter that we're going to take a glance at a little bit later, but we're going to get started off by talking about Imaging Diversified. So Nate, thanks for being with me today.
Thanks for having me, Jen.
My pleasure. Let's start off there with Imaging Diversified. Just kind of give us a basis of what the company is and what you're doing with it.
Awesome. So Imaging Diversified was founded by tech. I'm a technologist by heart, right? And so it came out of the need for applications. Funny stories, I got applications, I received it. Everyone teaches a little bit different. And that applications training I got, I didn't feel like was the best. Had another applications training that happened, me with a team, and I ended up going behind that, was asked like, hey, can we build the protocols and go through that? So I'm like, man, that one really wasn't great. And then I had another one, and these are all different manufacturers. It wasn't the same manufacturer, same company, same OEM. Finally, one day my wife was just like, hey, every time it seems like guys get apps training or whatever, it seems like, you're being asked to go do the same job. So she said, you ever thought about just doing it yourself? And I was like, something, yeah. I mean, I've got the training that I needed. I just said, hey, next time I got asked, I was like, listen, I'm going to come into apps. I didn't know how much to charge. I reached out to a colleague that did it, pretty much freelance. And I was like, hey, man, how much should we charge? Went from there. And when I started, mostly with third-party companies. And so that need for training, that need for expertise is there. Mm-hmm. And the need for showing technologists how to work the systems properly is there. Other than that, we're a whole bunch of button pushers, if not, right? You get some things, and just knowing where to go and how to make the changes is very important. It's just sharing that knowledge. And I didn't think I knew as much as I knew until I had those trainings and felt like, man, I know more than this person, but that's by over time and experience, right? And just asking for more and learning more. So Imaging Diversified came about with me just saying, hey, I need some help. And I said, hey, it has to be more people that have that work-life balance, that did apps in the past and they just can't travel. Maybe they have kids now, or maybe, they have to take care of an older parent or something like that, where they can still do it maybe only twice a week, or maybe only like 4 times a month, but they can't go every week back to back for the year anymore. But they still have the same expertise. They still have the training. I want to create a hub that experienced technologists, ones that sit in their field at their specific facility, that are the go-to. They're the ones that build your protocols. They are your leads. They do all the training for the new techs. They go in and change all the different systems to one protocol. They're the ones that, talk to the radiologists to get the change. And you have the techs or app specialists that have retired from the field or just can't do it anymore, that are sitting out there. So I wanted to say, hey, listen, here goes a company where you don't have to stop working at your other job. You can still educate. No difference from going to a conference and talking, or no difference from going to a school and talking about what we do. You can use this company as kind of like a catapult to get you in front of some people that need your help. Maybe they want to learn how to do cardiac. Maybe they want to learn how to do prostate imaging. Breast imaging is a big one that some techs may have been doing 20 years, but if you're not exposed, you don't know how to do it. We could take those people and get them to those people. Then we are basically transferring the knowledge that basically increases us as technologists, our skill level, our education level. It makes it rise just a little bit more. And that means those people that may be in rural hospital setting that have no one to call, no one to pick up the phone, have a interrography for the first time, and the doctor say, this is what I want to do. Never done it, don't know what to do, haven't built a protocol. So who do they call if they don't have OEM where they have service through or something like that? And sometimes I found, which I didn't know, or the techs don't know that they have that, they can pick up the phone and call them. So with this, we've been able to find people and then do that globally. What we want to do is wherever the need may be. We don't care if it's in Alaska. We don't care if it's in Cuba. We don't care if it's Jamaica, Hawaii, UK. We don't care where it is. We want to find the people and have them come in. So, of course, people do this on their own. We have freelancers, independent. What I wanted to do is everyone can make what they want to make for the most part, but we want to make it more of a structure to make it more streamlined so we can utilize our services better. We probably were talking before, like people want to make more money. Everyone wants to make the highest dollar amount possible, but sometimes it doesn't match up, right? You mess up with asking too much because then the people that really need you can't afford you. You got to find a happy medium. What I've done is created a system and created kind of a company with the help of my co-founder, John Zayak, and we keep molding, we keep restructuring and trying to make it fit more of the real world life situations. And so I always consider this a tech-owned company, like we are the employees that own it. And we always take in ideas and different things because without the people that work in it, we wouldn't have a company. We're not selling any products. We're selling ourselves as the industry leaders and the knowledge that we can go out and give. That's kind of what started it. We did this coming up on 5 years in August, and it really started small with just a handful of us with the idea like, let's do this together. Okay. And then let's just get it more concrete with the name. Right. We all had our own like LLCs, our little independents. I'm like, let's get a name that can come together. So imaging and then diversified was really meaning for different modalities, diversification of each modality. So we can look at every modality, ultrasound and PET CT and CT and MRI and X-ray and every modality you can think of. If we can find an expert in that field that is willing to teach someone else, we can utilize them, pay them for their time, then pay them for the travel. And so they don't have to worry about anything else. And they don't have to worry about trying to do it on their own and not get paid for 4 months, which when I started, that's kind of what happened to me.
Really?
You know, people say, hey, we'll use you. And then like, oh yeah, we'll pay you when we pay you. Now it's like, hold on, let's make sure that they understand it's a partnership. And these are real people that are going out spending their time. We want to make sure they get paid for their time. With that, I think we have more reputation of being good. We have a team that we try our best to keep teaching. So then third-party companies can count on us. OEMs, if they want to utilize us, can count on us too. And then we'll continue the training and education in-house and try to make sure we stay up on the industry standards as well.
You're talking about traveling and the amount of time sometimes that you might be an expert or, you know, you have experience in applications, but you just don't have the ability to spend 4 days traveling. There's some leniency there with like your company is what you're saying, right?
Right. So what we do, we'll get requests that may say, hey, we need 2 days, someone in Florida. And we may get a request that say, hey, we need 5 days in Oklahoma. Inside our team, what I think is really, really cool is you have a team of, let's say, 20 people in MRI. And then you look at it and what fits you and say, hey, that one fits me. It's almost like looking at a job board that forever changes. And you say, oh, I like that job. Let me go do it. Mm-hmm. 2 days, go knock it out, come home, you're done. You get paid for it. Right. It's pretty cool because in that time period, you make more than an average technologist at that time. You get to show someone and teach. So you're not really doing scanning. We don't scan at all, but we're just teaching a person how to utilize their system, how to use their system the proper way, and sometimes how to do things that they probably never thought of or didn't know they could do. And that when we leave, we're always hoping that we leave behind a smarter technologist, right? Someone that's going to utilize what they learn and be able to apply it and enhance the diagnostic imaging by doing so. That's the goal at the end of the day.
Do you find that the technologists that you're going to help out, they might possibly have already, they're experienced technologists, but maybe they're coming to a new facility, working with equipment that they haven't worked with before?
What I will say is I'll give it about a half and half. Most of the time we're going because the facility is receiving a loaner mobile while they get a brand new scanner, or we're coming in because they got a brand new scanner or used scanner. But when they're getting that, usually it's not what they've been working on. What's the hardest is, of course, when they move from one manufacturer to another manufacturer. We find techs that 20 years in the game, been doing it, can scan probably with their eyes closed on this scanner. Mm-hmm. Then they get hit with this manufacturer, and then they're like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, what is that? For instance, on a Philips scanner, you can set your TR, almost like an auto TR on the earlier stages of software. On GE and Siemens, you can't do an auto TR until later on, right? Where it kind of does it itself. So when you take someone that's been 10, 15 years on a scanner that was back in 2005 or 4, and they're just now getting another scanner, and it may not be the brand new scanner, maybe a used one, they may not understand TR. And you're like, whoa, how have you been doing this for 20 years? But you don't know your TR ranges for T2 and T1 and proton density for MRI or CT. They may be able to have a scanner that does certain things or set up to auto recon. And then they got a scanner that auto recon's not there and they manually do it. And they're like, whoa, what's going on? Why doesn't it automatically do this? Kind of one of those things where you like, well, why don't you know? Or how don't you know how to change the KVP mask? How don't you know how to fix your artifacts for these different things or set your own technique? You know, back in the day, we had to set our own technique X-ray. So now everything is like auto, like, right? So what if that went out? Like they wouldn't know what to do. We find a little bit of both. We find that we get new techs, which honestly, I'll be honest with you, they're easier to train a lot of times because they don't have anything that they're set on. Like, this is the way I've been doing it. This is the way it is. I don't want to learn anything new.
Yeah.
We find that newer techs are usually okay and they receive the knowledge better and they're ready to write stuff down. Older techs are like, I don't need to write anything down. I'm going to just remember that. And then they'll call you and be like, hey, how do you do that again? But at the end of the day, almost everyone that we train is receptive. You do find that rare breed, ones that don't want to hear anything. They just aren't going to accept the change. They don't want to do it, and they're just going to be steadfast. I think sometimes the person in us, right, the anxious, the anxiety, where you just kind of get reserved, where you react a certain way to change.
So the technologists then that you have that are coming to work with you and that are going out to these sites, are you looking for specific people who have experience in, say, like GE equipment, Siemens equipment, someone who has experience with the majority of what's out there?
So what we look for is someone that has experience in at least one manufacturer. It can be any other manufacturers. It can be Toshiba, Hitachi. We can go down the whole thing, GE, Siemens. We've taken people that only have, let's say, experience in one manufacturer, one system with one software. On the MRI side, it's just Siemens is free, and the software level is B19. And that's all. That's all they know, but they know everything it is to know about that. So that person, any job, anywhere that they're willing to travel that comes up for that specific scanner, they can go on it. And believe it or not, we have some popular ones for CT and for MRI. Sometimes that's all you need. You just that one. Now, it does help. We have people that have come and they had, work experience at the manufacturers where they've been there for a couple of years. And so they have more software level experience through a certain time point. For them, they can do multiples. And we also have on our staff where we have people that are trained in MRI and CT, for example, and it may be like GE and Siemens. So they have experience on both sides, on both modalities. And that allows them to go do training on that. Now, it may not be every scanner, but they may only have like 2 and 2, but it's enough that they can pick what they want when they want. Usually we want at least 3 years experience. Sometimes I say 5, but 3 years of experience at least. I've found that I've dropped that a little bit because if you work in a trauma one hospital on a specific scanner, and this day and age, sometimes you get hit with the duties. If you show yourself to understand, you get hit with the duties after 3 months. Like, all right, you're going to be building protocols. All right, we need you to do this. So you get thrown in it. And then every day you're dealing with it. So sometimes that 1 year experience for one person is more valuable than the experience of someone 10 years that's maybe been doing only like the MSK and spine. That's it. They haven't did anything trauma, nothing with contrast. And that's all they got experience with. A person 1 year is doing cardiac, functional imaging. They're doing everything you can think of under the sun, trauma cases. They're scanning pacemakers and MRI say pacemakers, and they're going through and checking off stuff where the other person got more years of experience, but just not more experience, if that makes sense. We had to kind of go through that and actually have a conversation. And I always say our hiring process is not like a hiring process. Our process is, are you capable process? And we never want to put someone out there that is not ready. We don't want to put someone in front of you trying to show you that new room that you got, and you ask them questions and you like, they don't know it. And you know more because you got experience with the room that you had. Like, well, I can figure this out. Why don't want you, we want people that can at least answer all the questions and some more. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes we do have people, like if someone came to train me, for example, I may be more experienced than this specialist that I'm getting. And that happens. So we know sometimes there's cases where you'll go somewhere and no matter how much experience you got, it may be someone that's really, really bright. They've did all their due diligence. They read everything about that scanner. And so they know more. And sometimes I don't like the situation where they try to like stump the trainer. That's not what we're there for. I try to make it straight up. I'm a very transparent person. Hey, listen, I'm not here to be stumped. I'm here to help. So if you know about the scanner and you can use it fully and functional, even though I'm here, my job is almost done here because we just want to make sure you can scan to optimal. And we want to bring people in that are comfortable with teaching people. And so that's mainly what we look for. But we don't want to send them out in those kind of cases. We just want to send them out so we can make sure they're helping other techs that need it.
This episode is brought to you by xraytech.org, the RadTech career resource. If you're considering a career in radiology, check out xraytech.org to get honest information on schools, degree options, career paths, and salaries. Have you had anyone come across looking for employment who in the past have worked for an actual like manufacturer who actually went out to do applications for them? Like say if they worked for Kodak or Siemens or something, and maybe they just don't like the workflow of what it was like being in applications. And maybe because your company is a little bit more flexible, it seems like.
We currently have people on our team now that have worked for. We want to make sure our relationships are good too with the OEMs. It's not like we were taking people or anything like that, but we want to make it like, listen, they can still come work for you. It's just now they can pretty much have a different work-life balance, maybe something that works more for them. But we do have people. Some people that work for us work full-time in this only. All they do is apps. Some people work part-time where they scan on the weekends or scan during the week, and they're available to do this 2 days a week. And some people only available on the weekends. Right. And that's okay too. So sometimes we get an ask, somebody say, hey, we only want to do apps on Saturday and Sunday because we don't want to have any downtime. We don't want to close the day on Monday through Friday. Let's do it on the weekend, get our training done, and be ready to go on Monday. Okay. And so it works for some people that say, hey, I don't have any availability. I'm only available on the weekends. They also have a place with us to offer it. Now, of course, they won't have as many opportunities, right? But they'll still have a place. And then sometimes your experience limits your opportunities as well. But the people that come from the manufacturer, we welcome them in too, because they have that experience. And then the only difference from us is just kind of the way we do some things, which is very similar. It's just some things that, you would do at the OEM that you wouldn't do for us because we don't have to worry about selling anything. We just go in and say, hey, this is how you scan. This is how you do what you do. And also, these are the things that you have on the system that you can utilize. Let me show these too. It's cool to have people like that. We pick from their brain too. It's an internal teaching everyone. We do that inside our internal chats where we'll just throw stuff out there. It's like, hey, I ran into this. What would you guys do? Type of situation. So I think that's really cool just to see everyone's input. I always call it a nerding out session. Like you'll look at it and you just get to nerd out with these people chiming in with this buttloads of experience and background.
So you start your company, you're coming up on 5 years or just about, but it was right before COVID. Did you hit like any roadblocks?
We went from being able to go wherever we wanted to, whenever we wanted to simply, I had a picture for one of our guys that he was the only person on a flight to Florida. He's like, dude, it's just me, the pilots, and the stewardess. I was like, take a picture. He took a picture behind him and in front of him. He was the only person on the flight. And then we ran into the situation, too, of being able to go into hospitals that got, strict depending on what state you were in. So I remember going to New York and one of the engineers or service people got turned away because they weren't vaccinated. Okay. And they were coming in to work and I was coming in to do the apps. And I'm like, well, can I do what I need to do without what this guy's getting sent home? It was really, really crazy. We definitely slowed down. And that's when we really were getting started, just being able to go into places and do the training because it's person-to-person training and then restrictions of how many people can come into a place as well. And we still did it through that time. It was just limited. It was like Wild Wild West then. It was something else. I mean, something we'll probably remember forever, like, how it was in 2020 was interesting, to say the least.
So let's switch over and let's talk about your other journey that you're going down, your new company that you're getting off the ground, Scepter.
Everything that seems to me, what comes to me is to fulfill a need that I see, right? So Scepter, the whole concept and the whole background to that is with the Imaging Diversified, with my personal technologist role in the Atlanta area, because I'm in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, in that area of PRNing and just working for different people, trying my best to be the best technologist I can be, build a good reputation, and then, of course, meeting people and staying in contact with them. I get calls and they'll say, hey, Nate, listen, we need someone next week for 2 days. Can you come do it? And I'm like, yeah, I actually can. And I'll go work it. And then someone else, and then someone else. And these are the places I don't work for. It started off with places that I was PRN. I felt like at like 7 different places at one time. But just being on it so they can call me when they need to. What happened is at one point, I had a conversation with the owner and said, hey, listen, I know you call me and I'm not available all the time. You know, I'm training people. I'm not here. But I have some techs that I know that I'm cool with in this area that probably would do it. And I could shoot them a text. How much would you pay them? And the question how I started was, well, how much would they want? And so my text went out, how much do you want? So this is the place, this is what they're offering, this is the type of scanner. And this was MRI, I'm an MRI background. So this is MRI work. So it's kind of how much you want. So I get the numbers from everybody and then I send them all over. And I say, hey, these are the numbers from, the different ones that can come. And they said, okay, cool. Of course, they would choose the cheapest, right? That started it. And then I said, okay, well, maybe we could start some type of system. This started with just a text on my phone and then a group text out. From there, I felt we could probably make this a little bit more of a streamline and more of a structure. And plus, on top of that, it's me getting text all the time, right? I still got a family. It's calls and texts like, hey, I need someone tomorrow. You got someone tomorrow, next week, or we need 2 weeks here and 2 weeks there. So this is something we've been doing for like 3 to 4 years. We've been, supplying application specialists to work short term, like less than 2 weeks. And the reason is we don't want them to be gone for a month because it's not travel work. But if they're going to come and you're going to pay travelers a certain amount of money, then, hey, let's make sure we're making something comparable. Let's not play on the same thing you pay your regular techs. They're coming in more of a stat ASAP type of situation. So let's pay them a little bit more. And so Scepter's concept behind that is let's utilize us, the technologists, the working field, the radiographers, the professionals, and let's connect with the hospitals, the imaging centers, no different than staffing agencies would. But we don't really want to impinge on the 13-week contracts or the 1-year contract. We don't want to do that. We got recruiters out there I'm cool with. Then let them keep doing their thing. What we just want to do is make sure that the in-between time, that time they're looking for someone for contract work, that gap of time that they're like struggling because they're down one tech for 2 weeks while they try to find someone, we want to help them out with that. It's one of those things, it's not really a long commitment. It's something that you can kind of work, do really quickly, and then come on back and get your money for it. But it allows you to stay in your radius, maybe 15-mile radius, maybe a 20-mile radius, that you can go make the same amount of money as a traveler would make if you're in Georgia and flew to California or flew to New York. Right. That you can make around your area, maybe only drive 30 minutes or something like that. And I'm pretty sure there's other staffing companies that have some type of thing like that. But I always found that most of them are based like nurses. They're based off that first. And then everybody else is like allied health. You get all of us too. So it's not a concentration on our profession, so to speak. So the company right now launching it is we'll have more communications out. We really want to embody the text. I'm one of those people, just like I said, my Imaging Diversified is a technologist owned company, so to speak. I want this Scepter to be the same way. I want to be led by the people. Like we, the community, are the leaders of it. We don't want to take a lot of money where people are like, oh, they're making a killing off of me. We want to make it very transparent where you can see like, this is the fee came across. This is going to pay for the run this application or this service, because we'll have to pay for people to run it, right? We want the technologists to make a little bit more than they make. And we want the hospitals, the imaging centers to pay a little bit less than they would pay for a 13-week contract.
So I think that's like an amazing idea of what you have there, because there's technologists who are out there who necessarily don't exactly want to travel because of the contract commitment. Like you said, like 13 weeks, 26 weeks, possibly a year, but still are looking for something extra, maybe in addition to what they're already doing, or they might be in between jobs as well or something. So if you have people who are out there who are just like, we just need these 2 days covered, or we need this, I think it works for both sides of the party of who's in need. Like people are both in need. Someone wants a little bit of work. these people need this work covered. It covers both sides of the tracks, definitely.
For us, if you're part of the community, if you're a provider, imaging center, or a hospital, just being on a platform, right? It's almost like a dating site. Just be on the platform, but
Right.
you're not cheating on anyone by being on the platform. It's Sunday, 7 o'clock. Someone just called out for Monday. Let me just make all my calls. Well, let me just throw it out there, right? Just put it out there. You never know
Yeah.
who is off on Monday and Tuesdays that may be 5 minutes away from you. You just really never know. And so I think the cool thing about it is I want to bring that together. Competition wise, and things like that, we have other staffing agencies. How it is now and today, how many job openings, I don't think it hurts to have something else out there. I don't think I'm going to be impinging on anyone's field. I don't think I'm going to be impinging on anyone's, thing in staffing. But Scepter, aka we have www.scepterstaffing.com. That's where they can go. They can do the signups. We are working on the website and things like that. And like I said, it's employee owned. So it's my personal money, my co-founder, our personal money, just trying to get the platform going with the concept that, hey, later on we can bring it back. But we are going to be looking for just investors, just people that say, hey, I believe in this. I think that's going to be cool. The staffing agency world is $1 billion industry. So we're kind of getting into it, but not the furlough 13-week contract, stuff like that. We want to make sure that it's a clear separation from that. So if they do, we'd love to partner with that. Or maybe down the road, we may have like a section 4 of like longer commitments and longer things. So we can still help the companies or help the, hospitals out that need it. That's funny too, because people ask me about remote scanning and just all these different technology advances and AI and remote scanning, and all of that still comes in together. Because if you think about you filling a shift from your room and you're filling a shift like 12 hours away, let's say it's in like Australia and you're at home and he's like, oh, it's overnight. So yeah, I'll fill that shift. And it's like, oh, we're going to pay you like $100 a scan or $50 an hour, whatever it may be. And you're able to fill a shift. And then you may say, oh, I feel another one like 5 minutes down the road tomorrow. This gig work era that we're in, that's what we're embodying. It's like the gig stuff. So you can kind of work it here, maybe have something that's truly committed on Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, and you can fill in these other things that really work for you, that you can really still have your life and never know. This may be your thing that you do. That's why I think Uber is so cool and so important today. It gives people the flexibility. You don't want people riding with you? Not a problem. Do the food service, right? Just pick up food and take it. So just having those different choices, I think, helps for us in our field. And I think it also helps the other companies that need it. So they don't have to close. You have people like your mom, my mom, or your cousins or your kids that are scheduled, and you get a call like, hey, we're not going to be able to do you tomorrow. And they give you a reason. Who knows if that's the right reason, right? But they'll say, hey, we got to reschedule you. The machine was down or whatever it may be. They may have just had no one there to do your scan. You never know.
To branch off of that, we were talking before we started recording about getting techs involved and the different communities that we have out there. And you were saying how you've become active with the different rad societies within Atlanta. You want to share a little bit about what you're doing with them?
Most definitely. So I volunteer for Atlanta Society and Georgia Society. So Atlanta Society is more for the metro Atlanta area. And then we got Georgia Society encompasses all of Georgia. And then you have ASRT, that is the big society over most of the US, right? And so if your state has one, and most all state has a society, but what we see is that, for instance, in Georgia, 11,000 registered techs by ART. In the two societies, we probably have a percentage of about 1%, somewhere around there, 1 to 3%. I may be giving a lofty one to say 3% that are actually a member of the society and then active in it. What that means is it's not even 1 out of 10. This just means like you may be at a place, a big healthcare facility, maybe a total radiology, you may have like 100 of you guys or 150, or a health system, 300, then probably maybe like 3 people may be part of the society for your state. If we're asking for our society to be known, for us to get more money, for us to be able to do more things, then our voice is not as strong if we don't have as many people You got nurses and things like that. They get stuff done. Doctors, they get stuff done. It's not because they are quote unquote doctors or quote unquote nurses. It's just because they show up, they have a voice. They're not going to sit back and let someone else make the decisions for them. The associations with the doctors and the orthopedists and the neurosurgeons and the nurses and things like, they're going to show up. They're going to make sure that the states are not regulating something a certain way that's going to take them out of a job or take money from them or anything like that. Or they're going to be there. They're going to have a voice. They're going to have someone at least sitting as a representative or something that they can use. Ours, it seems like we're the third largest healthcare organization group, I should say, not organization, group, doctors, nurses, and us, just by sheer number. But it seems to me that we're probably the most disorganized and not collective together. And that's in every single state. And it's crazy because if you look at it, is it a cost? Well, they average out most states about $30 a year. So we're talking about what, under $3, $2.99 a month to join your society, right? We're looking at a small amount of money. A lot of them have where you get your CEs, you get other things as well within those. So it's kind of like, okay, I've had someone tell me, so what can a society do for me? And I have people tell me that. I'm thinking like, you're a tech. Or if you're a manager or a leader, I'm like, well, you're the leader. Like, it's not what they can do for you. It's more like, how can you help benefit your society? It's my thought process. I know a lot of people like, well, what can they do for me? And it's, you bring your expertise and then let's see what we can do together. What we can do together is powerful. We can take stuff like societies in a big number. We can start offering services. We can start looking at rural areas together. We can start teaching. We can hold workshops. You know, it's a lot of things that we could possibly do if we actually work together. You have the same 50, the same 20, the same 60 year after year after year after year. They're going to hold it together. But the outgoing, let's go into the city, let's do these things, you're going to need the more numbers and the younger generation and just more people in general coming in, younger and older generations. They just coming in, get into society and using their skill set. So let's say, for instance, you have a background in photography, but you're a radiographer. That's something you do as a hobby. Well, you could definitely come work in the society, use your skills, and then that's your way to give back. Like you're like, hey, I'm using my skills. And also check me out. You can help. You can do these things, use your skills, use your hobbies, and be involved in something that you're working in and probably started your career in and probably is going to end your career in, but you never were involved. And it's no different from PTA, being involved in your high school or middle school or elementary school for your kids, your HOAs, making sure you know what's going on into your neighborhoods. These things that we do or we talk about, and people will tell you straight up, like, well, if you're not going, well, you can't really say nothing. So it's no different from our society. I feel like I really, really, really want more people to get involved. And me personally, I work in the outreach part of it. So my job is to try to connect with more businesses, connect with more radiographers, technologists, just to get them more involved or try to figure out ways that appeal to them. And it's hard. It's harder than I thought it would be. I literally thought that when you find out about it, because as soon as I found out we had one, is, oh, I'm joining it right away. Like, why not? $35? I spend that eating out. Like, it's just that I'm in a society. I know what's going on. I can go sit at a meeting local to me and get CE credits. What are you talking about? It's a win-win for me.
Everybody, this is Nate Smith talking to us about being tech involved and how important it is for us as technologists to be involved with each other. And then also too, all the great things that he's doing with his 2 companies that he's founded. So Nate, thank you for being with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. That was great. Love talking to you.
All right, everybody. We'll see you later. Make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave us a review. Let us know what you're thinking, and we'll see you next week. You've been watching The Skeleton Crew, brought to you by xraytech.org. On the next episode, join us to explore the present and the future of the rad tech career in the field of radiology.